right, guys, we are back. Episode number 25.
Welcome back.
Boom. Yeah, a little unfortunate hiatus from. We're going to do a recap of Fight Night 128, I believe it was, with the Barboza and Lee.
4 days ago.
Yeah, we probably could have been doing probably our second or third podcast had things went accordingly, but.
Well, if you didn't throw out your back.
Yeah. First, it was the back.
So hold on. I like this story. So you do have to explain how you injured this. You would think 20 years of fighting. I'm sure you've been through some battles, whatever. But.
Well, I'm working out hard, too, at this time.
I get it.
So I am at the gym a lot working out, which makes it more funny. But, yeah, so I was just like around the house. They were cleaning up and everything, and they were finishing cleaning. And I was just kind of in the bathroom moving things around. And I think I picked up a towel or something, dude. Like the lightest thing ever. And I just twisted. And I felt something like shift in my back. And that's not a good feeling, especially when you're my age, you know?
Well, especially when you're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And you pick up a towel. And you hurt your back. So
that didn't feel good either. But the point was, like, it was a terrifying feeling because, okay, so when I blew my knee out, that's bad because I knew I was on crutches at least a minimal, month or two, and then rehab and surgeries and all that. But, like, your back, I mean, you could be in a bed for, like, months. Who knows? I don't even know what back surgery, can cause. But, like, I was, like, terrified. I'm like, if I have to lay in a bed and go through back surgery right now, I'm done. Like, all the stuff I have planned for the future in the next 2 months or 3 months. So I was, like, scared to death. So it slipped. And then, well, actually, they had already finished cleaning the house because they had left.
I don't mean to laugh, but.
Yeah, so because I was alone. So I, like, wobbled back because, I was, like, I couldn't move. I, like, fell into a chair in the bathroom. And you might be wondering why I have a chair in my bathroom. I have to explain that, I guess, now.
This is why I brought it up.
Well, because I shaved my head, so I sit in
You
a
do
chair.
your makeup in there.
Yeah, whatever. So I fell into a chair kind of thing, and then I wobbled to the bed sort of and just kind of relaxed and had this huge knot hanging off the side of my back, which was, like, not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't really sell the fact that it wasn't serious. So now I'm getting real worried. And, all I could think about was getting to the hospital and making sure that it wasn't serious and needing surgery. So I managed to wobble my way down to the car and drive myself to the hospital.
I was at work. I'd have helped you out, but.
Sucks, man. So then I get to the hospital, and I come in. I'm wearing, like, just sweats and, like, I guess just loungy clothes. And then the lady starts giving me, like, the third degree. She's like, and it's usually really cool here.
Well, because we have insurance.
Right, at AK. And so I have like, the best insurance, and it's the hospitals are nice and clean and friendly. I mean, never had an issue ever. And I go in there, and I'm just like, hey, I got my back hurt. I need to see a doctor and get an x-ray and make sure everything's okay. And she's like, were we carrying something heavy? And I'm like, no. She's like, did you slip and fall on the ground? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, that's not an accident. But she said it in, like, a real, like...
Well, did you tell her the truth? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I did. I said I twisted. I was picking up an object. I didn't say a towel. I'll be honest.
An anvil.
And I was like, I fell onto, like, a chair. So, I mean, I didn't fall on the ground, but it was an accident. She's like, no, it wasn't an accident. And now I start understanding what she's doing. She's trying to, like, not get my insurance to cover it, which I'm like, it's Thailand.
Yeah, it's $70
Yeah, it's like I can get a Starbucks or get an x-ray. I mean, it's like, I'm not worried about the cost. Like, just give me a fucking x-ray. So I'm like, lady, just let me see a doctor. I don't care if what happened. I'm in serious pain right now. I need to know if this is serious, or I can go to sleep tonight, and not be worried. So I saw the doctor, and I got an x-ray, and yeah, and it literally was like, because I went to the counter after, gave me a bunch of pain pills and, like, some other stuff, and it was like, there's like 2 sets of pain pills, anti-inflammatories, and the x-ray, and it was just under $100.
Wow. So that's
so I was going to pay the $100 because I thought that was like a copay kind of thing with my insurance. So I'm like, oh, they accepted my insurance. And I went to pay, and they wouldn't take my money. They said, no, your insurance is covering it. So that was the cost. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, the healthcare.
So thanks, lady, for fighting me for 3,000 baht. Appreciate it.
Well, she's, yeah.
And needless to say, and everybody's worried right now, everything was fine. It was musculature. Whew. And so it was just, it spazzed out my my muscle, And then I got sick after that.
Well, do you remember when I got hit by that car and spent 11 days in the hospital here?
Yep.
Except I left every night.
Yep.
Then went back in the morning.
Yep.
That cost me. I didn't have insurance. And thank you, by the way.
Well, you aren't. You know, you have to earn insurance at
insurance. But anyway, thanks.
20 years to be my friend. You
CEO
think that's enough?
of the year. Thanks. No, that cost me 11,000 baht, which is roughly $314, right? 300.
Well, you can't say roughly and then give an exact number. I mean, that's a little too douchey.
Well, you know how good I am with
Did you
numbers.
prepare for that or something?
No, I'm good with numbers.
Okay. And exact current exchange rates?
Well, that's not the exact. I guarantee if y'all Google 11,000 baht, it's not exactly 314.
Anyway. No, but yeah, it's cheap, man. It's super cheap. And yeah, so that was my hospital experience.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
And then, so long story short, the next morning was the UFC. And so I was kind of bedridden. And then I got sick. Like the worst food poisoning of my entire life ever.
Which, don't feel bad, that went around for a little bit, for 2 days.
But I think it was food poisoning. You said it was like a bug, though.
It's more of a bug because people that don't even eat where we eat got it too.
So you don't think it was food poisoning?
No.
I think it was that fucking pancake.
I had a good...
it was a protein pancake, by the way.
What, a good 4 hours of me and my toilet getting acquainted.
Really?
So yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's nice.
I'll just to let you know.
I'm not just dying to know.
I'm not just talking shit.
Okay, I get you.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, it happens here. It's a third world country. It's relatively clean. It's beautiful here, and just
well, maybe
they call it Thai-arrhea, by the way.
Thai-arrhea.
Thai-arrhea, because
I don't know how they came up with that.
Well, it's a play on words of diarrhea, and we're in Thailand.
Mark, I get it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, so between that and that, which is two unfortunate events, we didn't do the recap, which we would have done. So, and by now you guys already know what happened. I mean, you've probably seen a ton of recaps. So we can kind of like summarize a little bit of what we saw.
We can be a Catholic priest. We'll touch on it a little bit,
Yikes.
Is that too much?
That might be.
Well,
fuck, man. I'm trying to get under double digits on the thumbs down, and I think that just fucked us.
Come on now. Dude, that's a quality joke. That's good. It's good. Speaking of double digits on the negative, which we don't have, do you remember when I was dressed in drag last week?
Yeah. So does a lot of people.
Well,
like everyone.
I'll be honest.
I can't quit hearing about how ugly you were as a lady.
I'm a man, Michael. I mean, yeah. And I purposely did my makeup bad for it. You know that.
That was like worse than the Joker. That was bad, man.
Well, I mean, it was... I mean, what do you want me to do?
Man, the funny thing was, like, some of the comments, like, we got... I mean, you got so... I think that was your most respected episode ever. Like, people...
I didn't think... Like, in the beginning when we started this podcast, it was a whole... Mark's a douchebag. He's skinny. He has his backward hat on. He doesn't fight. Why would he talk to us? Then they got really good for a while.
Yeah.
And then I did this, the last podcast, and it was good. For those who haven't seen it, I dressed in drag for Chuck Liddell. But
because if you're going to interview Chuck Liddell, there's no better way to do it than in drag.
Well, I thought it was his idea. So
yeah. But
I'd say for the a solid 96% of the comments were ha ha ha, Mark's funny.
More than that actually, but
yeah. I mean if you count all the forums, you
got a lot of respect. Like a lot of people respected you from the choke out, not tapping from that, and then the dress and drag. Like they said that you went all the way. I think the more dumb shit and dangerous shit that you do, the more respect you're gonna get. So I think we should just keep going with that stuff. Like full speed ahead.
Do an episode of Jackass or anything, but
I'm just saying, man, it's working.
I don't mind doing stupid, dumb shit. It's like the point of that. I'll do it all in fun. I mean, it's a joke. It's fun, but we got how many comments would you say were just completely off-putting, as the kids say?
There were a couple.
Days.
So it depends on. There was a couple. We look at a couple forums, and then obviously we always check our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is pretty good. They stay pretty good. We have a good, loyal kind of like team.
You guys are great.
You guys are amazing. But the people that were negative, it was all the same.
But
they just hated anything that they were just homophobic.
Yeah, see,
period.
I
that was it.
There
was nothing about anything else.
Yeah, I don't mind the Mark makes an ugly woman.
Yeah,
no shit. Mark's really stupid for doing this, or like I said, most of them are in a joking way bad. But you get those guys that are like. We'll say it, fuck these fags. And I'm like, why would you? Why? Obviously, nobody's doing that. If you actually watch the first 45 seconds of the episode, it's all in fun. You know, Chuck Liddell was smiling the whole time.
Well, someone was like, Chuck, why would you waste your time with these homos and shit like that?
Fuck
and like,
him, dude.
But it was like, it was kind of Chuck's idea. Like, you don't understand the whole story. You got to watch 5 seconds of the podcast before you leave a comment. Like, why would you wait? Like, I don't leave comments for YouTube videos. Yeah. Never. And I enjoy a ton of them, but I never leave comments.
Now, we'll reply to comments.
Well, ours. No, I reply to ours. But I'm saying in general when I watch YouTube. But it's like, these people are leaving comments and they're not even watching, not even 5 seconds of the podcast. Yeah. Why would you stop and leave a comment if you're not even watching anything?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you? Like, it makes no sense to me.
It's when you're so hateful. And it's just like, why waste your time?
They must just go from video to video and just slam people.
To fucking be dickheads. I don't know. I mean,
they look at the preview, you're wearing a fucking drag. Chuck Liddell's in there, and they're just like, fuck these guys.
Yeah, you know. I mean.
But whatever. It overall went.
Overall,
really well.
I appreciate everybody who commented. Even those assholes, because even on some of those comments,
I don't appreciate the homophobic dick clowns.
I don't appreciate them commenting, but I appreciate those people who
those
commented.
Guys need to get a grasp on life.
Well, those people who commented on top of those negative comments, and like, guys, it's all in fun. You know, what's your problem? Some of us, you guys got our back, and I appreciate that, but. It's just, man, why would you
made up of many different types of people, and it's like if you can't learn to just kind of adjust to what, it's just ridiculous this day and age to we make all these advancements in technology and living and travel, all this stuff, and it's like people can't advance in just human beings. You know what I mean? It's just like just move on.
That was beautiful, Michael.
Just move on. It's just the way the world is. You accept everything and move on. It's constantly ever changing.
It is true, man. It's just
no.
There's worse things going on than our podcast. Not very many better things.
Yeah,
but worse things going.
There we go. Nice, nice. All right. So anyway, that's why we didn't do the recap, and we'll do a little touch up on that. So I'll let you lead the charge on that.
You want to do the recap?
Yeah, might as well jump in a little bit of our thoughts on the fight night. I think it's 128. I hope I'm right on that. But fun fact, I was on fight night number 1, Mr. Mark.
Were you really?
If I can throw in like a little fun fact, I like to do so. If it involves
Did you know
myself.
you were the first to ever hold a sponsored banner?
God, really?
Yeah.
And you Googled that? It's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be damn.
100%.
Fuck's my favorite.
UFC
episode.
69, April 7th. Do that. Yeah.
I think that's exactly right. That's funny.
You might be right.
You're like a genius.
It is April 7th, 2007. 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, we were kids then, man.
Anyway, but yeah, so it was Ultimate Fight Night 128, Barboza versus Lee, and obviously Frankie, Edgar, and Cub, amazing fighters.
Yeah, I mean at this point everybody's seen.
Yeah, we're not going to recap every detail.
We would like to touch on a few things though.
Yep.
You know, I mean as
what
far
were
as
some of your highlights?
I did like when I mean obviously Dan Hooker's actually been to Thailand and trained. You know.
Yeah.
When him and Jim Miller fought.
Yeah. That was a hell of a knee, man.
Quite the knee, man. Holy hell. That's my favorite thing. I love knees and foot stomps. Those are my two favorite things.
Yeah.
Both up and down. But, yeah, man, hats off to him. That was, Jim Miller, 29 UFC fights. He's tied for number 1 with one of my favorites, Bisping. But,
sarcasm there.
Obviously a legend of the sport, so, congrats to Hooker.
Yeah, no, and then he called out Paul Felder.
Yeah,
in the post fight
next to him.
That's a first.
That's
cool. But I mean that's how you get fights, and apparently they accepted. So if Sean Shelby puts that together, now he's got a ranked fight, and that's what he's been wanting. He wanted that the last fight. We recapped his fight. I'll say, man, I'm even more impressed with Dan Hooker than last time. What can you say? He just keeps winning.
Me too. I mean, you
can't really say nothing bad about a guy who gets out there and just keeps winning, and he does so impressively. And dude, that knee, man, that's gonna hurt for a few days.
Like I said, even him for coming to Thailand, just doing any MMA in Thailand is good for all gyms. If he doesn't train with us, it's still.
Well, people don't realize like. I mean, the reason I've been coming here for 18 years is like Muay Thai is a huge asset to MMA. You know what I mean?
That knee.
That knee is just one example. That's one example. I mean, the elbows, the knees, like it's such a huge facet in the sport. And so it's like now that there's these gyms here like AK Thailand and these other ones where you can come here and you can learn.
Well done, buddy.
You can learn, but you can train in MMA and get the full curriculum of a Muay Thai program. It's fucking amazing, man. That's why I built this gym. That's why I had this dream since the beginning, because like, dude, Muay Thai has always been a big part of my game. Even when I had to come here with no MMA, you know, I had to leave MMA completely to come here and train only Muay Thai because I want those knockouts. You know what I mean? I need MMA to survive, like the full spectrum to survive and hang with all the top people. But I want to finish with Muay Thai. I want to finish with those devastating knockouts. That's how you get the bonuses. That's how you get the big name. That's how you get the big money. So it's like, you're not going to do that by laying on people, wrestling them and holding them down. So, you know, and I just proved it. That's one more example. Yeah. Dan Hooker trained in Thailand, you know, and he just won by a knockout to the knee. I don't know if he got performance of the night, but
actually, you know, I don't know the results.
If they had a knockout of the night, that should have.
It's got to be.
I don't think there was a bigger knockout than that, was there? We didn't watch the entire card.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing.
We watched the main card, but
it is 6 a.m. for us.
Yeah, and I'm still just getting recovered, but yeah. So there's that one, and then anything else stand out? I mean,
just to speed this up a hair. I mean, that Aljamain. Am I saying that correctly? Aljamain Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tough to say.
I don't know the first part.
He just dominated for 3 rounds. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, obviously, he put on a clinic. The guy was overmatched for sure, but you know, he won. And then your boy David Branch, not your boy, but he fought your boy.
Yeah.
Versus Thiago Santos. I mean, again, another good knockout. I feel like we're going to go through these fast.
Yeah.
Because people already know, so we don't want to bore you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he won.
But that was a great knockout. Overhand right to the.
I mean,
and against a guy who's a knockout guy. I mean,
he won 4 in a row before that.
He didn't expect to get knocked out, I don't think, in that fight. And he was mean mugging from the back.
Look at you.
He was ready to go to war.
Using the new terms the kids use.
He was ready to go to war, dude.
Good job, fam.
Whatever.
How stupid do we sound saying the new shit?
That's not new, man.
Fam?
Well, that's new. Yeah. Anyway, then we had Willis.
Yeah, your boy.
American Kickboxing Academy.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I know I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I know everyone's like, oh, you talk about AK all the time, but every freaking recap, there's an AK guy that wins.
It amazes
we can't help it that the team
how
is
people
amazing.
Don't realize.
Sorry, I meant that as a joke, but not really.
I agree. It's amazing how people don't realize that if every single main card, there's at least one AKA guy.
Yeah.
Whether it be AK Thailand or AK San Jose or AK Thailand or AK San Jose. You know, so it's mind-blowing to me why people go to other gyms. I don't know.
Okay, anyway. So, but the point is, it's cool to see guys like him, Willis, come up like that because, I mean, he was just a kid coming in the gym, man, and working his way up, and now I guess he's what, 7-1 now?
7-1, yeah.
And he's seven straight. He lost his first fight. So he's seven. Nice. He's on a 7-fight win streak.
I didn't know that.
And I think he's a few deep in the UFC now. I don't know how many exactly. I think 3 or 4. So hats off to him, man. And like, he came up kind of after me. I was already in Thailand working to build the gym. So obviously we know each other, train together, and he's a good guy. And we see each other at the gym and always have great conversations.
Yeah, you told me he was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah. He's funny, man. He's always been a goofball and like. But he came up kind of after me, so I wasn't there for a lot of his training and seeing him, you know, come up. He came up with Kane and DC, kind of the newer guys. And when you have training partners like Kane and DC, man, buddy, that's as good as it gets, you know.
Was it iron sharpens iron?
Yeah, that's our thing, man. Iron sharpens iron, and he's a good example of that. So he went out there and, dude, he knocked Starling.
No, Sherman. He knocked him on his ass a few times.
Sherman.
So
sorry for not knowing that, but
no,
I'm not going to
Sherman, man,
fake it here. I fucked up, but anyway, yeah, he knocked him down, and man, yeah, they were throwing some blows.
Yeah, well, two big dudes. Man.
That got into a couple of little decent slugfests, but yeah, he earned that one, and he's moving on.
As well he should. Good unanimous.
And I will say, victory. I know he's our boy. I know he's our boy, but slugfest wise, him and old Bam Bam. I know Bam Bam's climbing up the ranking a little faster, but that'd be an entertaining fight because they would just sling.
Do you know who Bam Bam's fighting next?
He's fighting
Arlovsky.
Yeah, that's right. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I know he's higher up in the ranks, but I'm just saying, entertainment wise.
I'd watch.
But I do wish the best for Bam in the Arlovsky fight.
Speaking of slugfest, quick fun note for you, my friend, which I don't know if you know this hit, but
it's amazing I'm saying that too about Bam. So high in the rankings already to fight Willis, who's 6 in a row and had a few UFC fights already. That's how fast Bam Bam's came. He's only had two fights, right?
Yeah, 2 in the UFC.
But he's already so high ranked that I'm like even putting him above
his
Willis.
His nickname is Thai Shuivasa.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty decent.
Nice.
Pretty decent. Anyway.
And that's from a shoey that he did. Guys,
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
Google that and figure that out. But it's the most disgusting thing you can ever do.
Yeah.
That is one of the most disgusting things ever. As far as like camaraderie between your boys.
No, it gets worse. Some of the stories he tells me.
Yeah,
about,
that's...
Which, by the way, we're having dinner tomorrow night.
On a pay-per-view. Oh, he's here.
Yeah, he is.
That's
here.
right. He just came in.
So we will... I'll fill you in on more disgusting things, but no. Derek Lewis is fighting Ngannou. So, I mean, do you see that going to the ground at all?
Nope.
Exactly.
I don't.
So
I say going to the ground for sure, but one of them.
Well, one of them.
Yeah.
I just can't remember where Lewis is from. What city in Texas?
So who's your favorite?
I got to go with...
You got to go with your
man.
boy, huh?
Come on, man. So,
Ngannou's,
anyway, moving on.
I think Ngannou has the hardest hit, the hardest punch of any human or something. They did some kind of test.
Well, who's ever been tested?
No, I think they did some one of those
Well, no, I get
science
it. I get it.
shows did something.
But they say he's the hardest hitting human in the world.
I mean, they didn't test every human, but I'm just saying
Exactly,
he has a
so.
decent hit. I wouldn't want to get hit by him.
I want to see Tyson 1986. Must hit harder than him.
Yeah.
Must have.
I think he hits harder than anyone.
Still, regardless, I don't want to just stand there and take one to the ear. But
no.
So, anyway, co-main event.
Co-main
A
event.
good podcast alum, if you will, buddy.
And I'm so happy he got his win, Frankie Edgar.
Frankie
Now,
Edgar,
I want to say this, though. I love Cub Swanson, and I want to say I hated seeing those two match up, but I loved it. So, stylistically wise, I loved watching that fight.
And it was entertaining.
And it was entertaining. It lived up to it, and it's just a great matchup. But I hated the fact that they're both coming off losses.
To the same guy.
And one of them has to take 2 losses. I didn't want to have to see one of them take 2 losses in a row. So I was kind of mixed in that, because I like both these guys so much. But Frankie's such a good guy.
I got to say, I'm glad it's Edgar that won. I mean.
Yeah, I love Frankie, man, and he brings it every time. And Cub's an OG, though, man, and like he's been there since.
Cub was there with your WC days type.
He's been there, man.
A little after yours.
I like them both, but since Frankie's been on the podcast, he's
and
our
Edgar
boy.
had a loss in the family,
and he's just a
and
legend, dude. I mean, come on, you can't not like the guy.
Fighting on emotion, the loss that he had in his family.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He lost his father.
So
that's a big one.
God bless him and his family, man.
That's a big one, man. That's
we've
hard.
each lost somebody close.
Yeah, I want to say though, you can use it 2 different ways, but like I've seen fighters maybe crumble a little bit under that kind of circumstance, but a lot of times, like in my history too, emotion has helped me. Like be it even old stuff that's happened a long time ago that I would like bring back into memory. I used to walk into the cubicle in the locker room before every fight.
There's a cubicle?
Did I say like the bathroom? Like the little toilet stall.
Bathroom stall?
Yeah, what
Who calls it a cubicle? That's a fucking office term.
12 in the morning. All right, so.
Yeah, good point.
I was in my cubicle where I do my work.
You're shitting me.
It was in the toilet stall, and I'd go in the toilet stall. I'm trying to think of everything at the same time. It's emotional for me, but also, and I'd always look at a picture of my dad and my grandfather.
I didn't know this. Now I feel bad.
Well, yeah, you should feel shitty for.
Shitty?
Yeah.
All right.
You feel better now? No, but seriously, for all my UFC fights, I would do that. I'd go back in there and I would take like at least 5 minutes. I'd go in this bathroom stall and I would take out a picture or something to remind my father and my grandfather after he passed. And it would bring that fire, because anyone who knows me like you do knows that my father passing has been fuel in my fire since day one. So there's a long history and long story behind that. And I never used it in the media. I never like played it up like, feel sorry for me, my father died and all this kind of stuff. So I never brought this whole story out. And to this day, it's never really been out. But it's been a huge fire of my whole life and achieving success and trying to make something of my life and fighting and being in the UFC. So, that emotion would almost bring me to tears before every single fight. And that brought the best out of me. Like, I remember being in almost tears walking out a few times. And that emotion, it was so powerful. You can use it like...
I
crazy.
Never knew that, man.
Yeah, so maybe, as a side note, I'm not trying to bring myself into his story, but I'm saying he could have done the same as well. Sometimes it's powerful because, you want to like, he's looking down on you. Whatever you think happens after someone dies and whatever it is, you play on that and you want to do what's best and it can fire you up sometimes. And, but Frankie looked the same as usual. I mean, the guy's always on point. It's hard to say what really...
What's cool is the first fights his kids ever been to.
Yeah.
So that was cool to hear. So, again, we love Frankie.
Yeah.
The guy was awesome, great, great for him to come on and stuff. So,
yeah.
Man, I like doing these podcasts with you. I get to learn shit about you.
Yeah.
Usually,
you didn't know I had a cubicle in the bathroom before.
Well, no, I didn't know you didn't understand how to poop. But I mean, yeah, no, like I said, I didn't know that about. I mean, obviously, I know your background, but I mean, I can't believe that I live with you, I work with you,
buddy. I've been in the sport for 20, professionally for 20 years now.
We text 45 times an hour,
but still, bro, we don't talk about fighting all the time. So this is gonna be
that's
great. You're gonna learn a lot about me through these podcasts.
How crazy is it? You know this. We've talked about this before. Is you and I never talked UFC. While you were pretty much in the UFC.
No, I know.
I mean, a little bit about you, who you're fighting and all that stuff, but I wasn't like,
well, you were my, like, getaway from the UFC,
Because I'm a bitch?
We just talked about other cool things. Nah, yeah, pretty much.
All right.
You were the least thing, like, when I looked around when I was in the UFC, the least thing that reminded me of UFC was you and your figure.
Wow.
So, like, I could be drawn to you, and it would just take me completely out of, like, fighting.
I am completely honored.
No, I appreciate it. It's a compliment.
Wow,
it's a compliment.
Shit. Well, I mean, yeah, I know.
No, but seriously, you help me out, man. Because like when you fight and you're thinking about fighting all the time, especially when you got fights coming up, you don't want that to be in your head all the time, man. You want to take a break. You want it out of your head. And with you, obviously, you're funny, and you're the funniest guy I know. So it's like we could sit and talk about dumb shit that like is irrelevant, and get lost for hours and not think about stuff.
We usually do.
And we do.
And what
especially
sucks
we found poker and stuff.
If these people would see our podcast, I mean, how we talk outside of the podcast, we're 30 times funnier. We're a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's douchey to say, but we would probably have 50,000 subscribers already.
If we could
growing,
say,
but we couldn't say any of the stuff that we say. We couldn't get away with. We would literally, everyone would listen to our podcast 100%, but we would also probably ruffle a few feathers, and
that's true.
We would definitely.
And like you say, you just brought up poker. That was probably one of our good outlets there. We just didn't give a shit about anything. I had some shit going on. You obviously with the UFC, so for poker, man, that really changed it for us.
Yeah. And for you guys that are watching on YouTube, we're still stuck with this fucking camera that cuts off every 30 minutes, and we got 1 minute to go. So I'm not going to bullshit you guys. We don't cut and edit these. These are raw.
Yeah.
We only edit if there's a problem. So we're going to have to cut this thing off and restart it. But instead of blending it like we usually do, so it looks like we kind of edited it, I'm just going to tell you straight up, I'm just going to snap my fingers, and it's going to go right into the next
I'm going to try to put my hands in the same position.
Don't move the whole time we do it.
Nope. Go.
Okay. And we're back. Right? We're back. All right.
How did I do?
Did good.
You have no idea.
See, here's the thing. If you've noticed the first podcast we're doing, if you're on YouTube right now, if you're listening on iTunes, at first I want to thank you guys because we are getting an enormous... Bit my tongue right now.
It's okay.
So you couldn't see that if you listen on iTunes. Holy shit. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting an amazing...
feedback,
viewership, listening-ship. I don't know what you'd say for people who are listening.
Audio-ship?
We're getting a lot of people on iTunes. We're trending, and we're getting a lot of listeners on iTunes and subscribing. So that's growing super fast. YouTube's growing slower, but still growing. So if you're listening on iTunes, definitely check out the YouTube channel for the interesting podcasts, like especially the last one. This one's us sitting here. I bit my lip. You get to see my my Lego Eiffel Tower that we talked about a couple podcasts ago that I spent a lot of time building.
I was dressed like a woman.
But there's some things you have to watch on the YouTube that's going to be way better.
The Mark Hunt episode.
Yeah.
The visuals we had for him.
We have some pretty funny shit that we you definitely got to see.
Plus, we're handsome dudes for the most part.
And there's that. But definitely, I want to thank you guys so much on iTunes for the support. You guys are growing fast, and we appreciate no matter how you're listening to the podcast. If you're enjoying it, which from the feedback you guys are, we're happy to do them. And we'll keep doing this as much as we can. Like I said, we would have already had 2 by now if it wasn't for me getting injured and sick at the same time. But yeah, so where were we? So anyway, we had to stop the camera. And if you've noticed, every podcast we've done that, we've done it really slyly.
We've always been cool about it.
So you have to go back and watch every episode now. And
they will.
That'll increase our views, by the way. Mark.
And I will tell you, for those guys that again, we touch on this again, the comment and stuff.
Oh, no, I was getting, go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. I got
real quick.
3.
Name of the podcast.
Real quick with Mike Swick. Oh, there you go. Funny I'm not in the name, but anyway.
But, Mark.
And Mark. 3 guys are now coming to the gym from the podcast, and just in the emails I've gotten the last 3 days.
Yeah.
And
it's bringing a ton of people to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
guys,
crazy.
even if y'all just want to say hi to me personally, I mean,
how is it?
Info at AK Thailand.
How does it feel for people coming up to you now? Because I see them taking pictures with you.
I'm taking pictures,
You're
dude.
getting famous, bro.
And I'm such a huge douchebag. And don't get me wrong, I like being the center of attention.
No, you're
and
not
asshole.
a douchebag. You're just a dork. A douchebag is like different. You're just a dork.
God, you really know how to lift my spirits.
No, but you're the cool guy. I mean, I don't mean dork in a bad way. I mean, like I am to you. You call me a dork too. You're like just the funny guy. That's like.
I keep it light, and I think.
I don't.
And I'm very. And guys, y'all be surprised.
You're who everybody wants to hang out with, but douchey guys are the guys that are all uptight and fucking. You're not a douche.
You got to give me love on this. I know you don't give compliments very often, to me at least.
Yeah, no, I don't.
How good am I at remembering people's names?
Yeah, dates.
Where they're from. Well, the dates and all that stuff. But I try to make it a point to get to know the people that come there. I mean, that's where I think we differ from every other gym. So, I mean, like I said, some people even just email, just say, hi, I love the podcast. That's awesome. I'll take it anytime, and just, I don't know. It was just kind of cool. I got one today, a pretty good one. And the guy was like, kind of like, oh my God, you're really Mark from the podcast. I was like, dude, I'm a nobody, but thank you, I mean, it was really cool. So anyway.
No, you're not.
But let's go back to what we're supposed to
What's ironic, though, is I want to say this, just to touch real quick, is how many. There's been a couple people that came to the gym in the past. You deal with the good fighters that know what that listen, pay attention, loyal, and make careers for themselves. And then you deal with the knuckleheads, right? The guys that think they know what's best, and they don't. And we've had those guys come in the gym, and I'm this and I'm that, and I should be this. But what's ironic is a couple of these guys that came to the gym before that spent 5, 6, 7 years training MMA, fighting MMA, and then thought they knew best, and they're just traveling around, going gym to gym and thinking they know better, and you're literally more famous than they are now. How crazy is that?
It is kind of neat.
You're more famous than these guys who's had 15 fights, 10 fights, however many fights. Nobody in the community knows who they are.
And I've never.
And you're trending on iTunes, and we've talked personally together to every big name in the sport, damn near, almost.
I mean, I got a solid 2 podcasts ago, 200 comments.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say they're all about me, but I'd say a solid. I was kind of a.
You stole that episode with Chuck Liddell for sure.
That was.
Yeah, you did.
I'm a good-looking woman, dude.
Buddy, and think about it for a second. If you haven't watched it already, guys, if you haven't watched it and you're watching on YouTube or you're on iTunes right now, it was a podcast with him and Drag interviewing Chuck Liddell. Like, how does it get better than that? And Chuck was loving it because we touched on experiences that we've actually had together. We're not interviewing people that we've never met or that, we don't know. We've hung out together. Like, these are friends of ours. Like, he's came here and hung out with us. I was in LA hanging out with him, and it's a good podcast, I think, as far as he's a quick talker, and then he shuts the conversation down quick, so it's hard to
he
flow with him sometimes.
He doesn't elaborate a whole lot.
So he had to keep me on my
and I think we did great. I mean, there's some really good stories about us almost getting in fights and stuff.
If you're looking for stories, and like that was a great podcast.
That's pretty much all our podcasts.
And he's just a great guy.
I mean, our next couple guests, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
We've had some instances with them and stuff. It's just, I don't know, man. I think that this is.
We're doing this out of love and out of experience, not out of we need to do a podcast to make money, or we need to do a podcast to break the news. We're doing this because I've had 20 years in the sport, and we have the area. We built a studio. We have a gym. We have access to so many people, and so we're just doing it and sharing these experiences because they're fun experiences.
I'll say a little fun fact, little nugget, Easter egg, is that what the kids call it? The reason this podcast got started, an Easter egg, you've never seen that? On a DVD or something? Or
yeah, now I get it. Video game, but yeah.
It's not a video game, DVD. Anyway.
Never heard of her.
She's a diva. You wouldn't like her.
All right.
Duh. So, no, like Mike and I will eat, just lunch or whatever, and we'll start talking shit to each other at the gym or whatever. And it turns into a full-out pissing contest. And we'll tell stories about each other, and then people just gravitate to it and enjoy listening to it. So that's why we're like, man, let's do a...
Well, people told us actually for a while to do a podcast.
Yeah, 2 years. I wish we started 2 years ago. What's a podcast?
Yeah, we were so
What's a computer?
Not into it. And then finally we're just like, dude, we have a room. Just build a podcast room.
Yeah, so we put this gym together. I'm glad we did, man. We get a lot of positive feedback. I mean, way more positive than negative.
And the thing is, we're doing it for fun, so it's not like expectations. So it's like, for people that like want to be haters and bring us down, you're not going to.
Man, we really don't
bring
us.
We're living our lives already, dude.
We're in Thailand.
We're doing what we want to do. This is just bonus for us. So it's like we're trying to share this experience with you and hopefully motivate you and hopefully inspire you if we can to be a fighter or to train hard or to come and be at the gym and come experience Thailand. Or entertain you with our stories, but we're not doing anything negative anyway. But it's like, you're not going to bring us down. We're not going to go shoot ourselves because we have a bad episode and you don't like it. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if these people understand. We live in a place where some people can only vacation to maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
And we live here.
Yeah.
I mean, how can it get any better? And it's going to sound gay, with my best friend. It's like, how many people have had a friend for 23 years that they get to work with every day? And don't get me wrong, we're not always on the same page. No. But overall, man, I mean, this is a pretty cool life. For being 38 years old, a couple washed up dudes.
I'm tough to work with sometimes. I know you want to say. Be honest here.
Man,
you can speak freely if you want.
No, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Don't.
I got rent.
I'm not an easy guy to work for. I'll be honest. I know.
Hey, paydays in 5 days, man. Yeah, I got to be nice.
I know. I get it. I'm a slave driver, but do we not get it done though?
Hey, we'll give you this. I think we've touched on it before. I think we got more subscribers now and stuff. People haven't heard this. I wasn't always the hardest worker before in my life, and for you to take me from where I was, because I didn't give a shit. You know that.
Yeah.
And you believed in me that I'm not the biggest piece of shit on the planet. For you to take me here, and I mean, you literally helped me run, or I help you run the. One of the best gyms in the world, man. I mean, a guy that's never been the biggest. Yeah. I mean, a guy that's never been in a fight, anything like that ever. I never thought 5 years ago I'd be doing this shit,
Yeah. And you're talking to guys like Dana White and Daniel Cormier and Frankie Edgar, and
which I don't think you understand is kind of tough for me sometimes.
Yeah. Well, one episode I forgot which one it was. You didn't even talk.
Frankie Edgar would not let me say a word.
No, but one you were just starstruck. Was it Mickey Rourke or was it?
No, Mickey Rourke said he wanted to rub my nuts, so that was.
No,
weird.
You talked on that one. There was one that froze you up though.
I think it might have been. No, it wasn't Dana.
It wasn't Dana because you talked on Dana because I was the one that got shut down on Dana. Y'all fucked me up big time.
Maybe Dan Hardy.
No, you talked on him too.
Shit, we've done so many superstars.
Oof.
Yeah.
God. Take our sarcasm, guys. It's just sarcasm. We're not douches.
Yeah.
I mean, we are amongst each other, but that's.
Man, we have a lot of fun doing this, man.
Yeah, I know it's fun, man. And if we can share it and you guys enjoy it, but I will say this: we are the worst at closing podcasts. Not that we're trying to right now, but we also are the worst at getting off topic. Yep. And we haven't even got to the main event yet. We've been lost ever since Cub Swanson versus Frankie.
What fight?
There was one more fight on that card. Did you not remember? Barboza versus Lee. So anyway, going back to Frankie Edgar.
My bad.
Yeah, good thing I remember that. It would suck to have missed that completely, right? The main event of the fucking Fight Night 28 or 128.
Maybe we should cover that.
So anyway, we're very happy that Frankie won his fight, got back on the winning track. Unfortunately, Cub Swanson didn't. He'll bounce back. He's an amazing fighter. I love him to death too. Two of my favorite fighters. And now into the main event, the very charismatic Kevin Lee and Barboza. I mean,
I'll say this. First of all, Kevin Lee won. Let's cover that.
I mean, and he won dominantly. I mean, he did get almost beat.
He got rocked there with that spinning back kick. Everybody's seen it. But I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Kevin Lee. He's a tremendous fighter. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. You know, I mean, it's just all these guys. Like, I guess it's kind of, you know, we've had 4 days since the fight. So
I respect his game for trying to. I mean, it's not too malicious. So, like I said in a podcast before, I respect his game for talking and trying to be something, you know, whatever. And
it just seems forced. You know,
I think he's getting more smooth.
Conor
with
McGregor,
it now.
Colby Covington, they're legitimate dickheads.
Yeah, that's true.
They're legitimate.
They are
assholes.
real. Yeah,
Kevin Lee seems like a pretty nice guy. So when they
Yeah.
force it and talk shit, and he doesn't really like maliciously do it. There's just something about it. Like I said, I mean, tremendous fighter. But I guess it goes back to Leo Santos beat him, who trained at AK.
Yeah, he's our boy.
And you know, for him to say, "Oh, I want Khabib," and his whole AK team is scared. Well, we're part of that AK team. We already had a fighter that beat him.
Yeah.
You know, and Khabib is 3 times the fighter that guy will ever be, in my eyes. And
well, the thing is, well, I mean, Leo's with Nova Uni out, but
I know, but I mean,
he's
you
a
know
friend of
what I mean.
ours. But I mean, he did lose to Leo, and the thing is, I mean, we got to look at the lineup here first of all. So everybody wants Khabib now, all right? And if you look at the lineup,
People in
Conor's
and
still
out of the division.
on the first,
divisions.
you know, bracket. He's at the top, even though we know he's not going to fight. I mean, I doubt it. He's got so much other shit going on, and
Well, not
now
for
he's got
at
the
least
lawsuits and
8 months.
yeah, so he's out. Then we got Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson's out. Okay.
I'd say a year.
Next
Could
in
be wrong.
line, you have Eddie Alvarez. Now, Eddie Alvarez pleaded his case recently in an interview that I saw that he stylistically is the best matchup for Khabib, and I'm not too certain that I don't disagree. Maybe he might be the next best thing for Khabib, and it would be an entertaining fight. It'd be a fast-paced, you know, fight,
Yeah.
and that's definitely. And I think after him, Kevin Lee's the only option.
But what else is there? You got Justin Gaethje. Or
Well, Dustin Poirier is also up there.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's to that level yet. He's in between Alvarez and Kevin Lee. I don't think he's to the level of them putting up against someone like Khabib. And then you got Gaethje down here. But why would you want the guy who beat the number, was it 10 or something, to win the title, to defend it against number 7? You know, he's got to fight one of these guys at the top. So I think he's going to have to fight Alvarez or probably that's the fight. And then second would be Kevin Lee.
Yeah, I would say out of those 7, 8 fighters you name, whatever, those are obviously the 2 that I would like to see the most. Even though obviously we're biased. Obviously we want Khabib to win.
Yeah, of course.
But for it to be a close fight. But I think what he's going to have to do for it to be he's just so far above all those guys, man. He's going to have to step out of the division, I would think.
He might have one more fight. Maybe he'll fight Alvarez or whatever, and then try to get that. I mean, I don't know how realistic the GSP fight is because I don't know where they're going to meet and how that's going to go. And there's going to be a lot of setup. And if that fight happens, you're talking like months of press tours. I mean, Dana's going to go all over the world with that thing.
Well,
so that's going to be like ages.
Khabib's about to start.
Then there's going to be an interim belt again probably because it'll take so long.
They won't do an interim belt over a press conference. Khabib's
do
about to
interim belts
start
for everything.
Ramadan. You know,
and then there's that.
So he's going to have to take time off for that. And you have to respect his religious beliefs, of course.
Yeah,
and then, so I think he said he wants to fight November, December, which God seems so far from now.
That's the thing, yeah.
But we'll do 20 podcasts before that and talk about it. But so I could see.
But for somebody to jump up ahead of Eddie Alvarez and Kevin Lee, even within now and then, no one's going to jump up that high, that fast. So I think realistically, if I had to guess right now, I would say it's going to be Alvarez versus Khabib.
If it's in that division, it's got to be Alvarez.
They could sell that fight. They could definitely sell that fight. And, you know, stylistically wise, he had a point. If you look at the way he fights, I mean, there's things that he does that other fighters that Khabib's fought, hasn't done. And it makes for an interesting fight. I do give Khabib the advantage over everyone.
Oh, of course.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying that because I'm AK, but he's just...
It's just anybody can say that. I mean, everybody's going to say that. It just so happens he has to be at AK, which, you know, I mean... what else can we say? You know, I mean, and he did bring up a good point how he's the underdog from Philadelphia. See if you can follow this one.
Okay.
He's the underdog from Philadelphia, fighting the big Russian champion guy.
Rocky.
Oh, you got it that fast? Well, shit, I had a whole setup, and I was gonna.
We'll go ahead and finish and pretend.
Well, I don't want to now.
No,
you ruined it. I was gonna.
No, I said the way you're saying it is Rocky. I didn't hear you. I couldn't understand what you were saying.
I hit rock bottom.
It's kind of rocky what you're saying.
No, never mind. You ruined it for me.
No, go
well
ahead,
done.
Finish it, though.
No. I'm not going to.
Well, if you had a big setup.
Well, I did. I was going to dance and do some dumb shit, so you saved me from it. Yeah, I was all excited about
Philadelphia underdog fighting a Russian. It doesn't take a fucking scientist. Elon Musk doesn't have to come in here and fucking answer that.
Wow. Is Elon Musk a scientist?
Well, no, he should be.
So why the fuck would you name
He owns SpaceX, Solar City, and fucking
right
Tesla.
now. Right now.
No, he's not a dumbass.
I didn't say he's a moron.
He's a fucking genius, yeah.
If you could meet out of 3 people.
Oh, God. We're getting back to this?
Elon Musk, The Rock.
Well, you already know.
Or somebody of your choice.
You don't even need to name anyone else. The Rock. It's my boy.
Really?
I've met him twice, and I can't meet him enough.
What's his real name?
Dwayne Johnson.
When was he born? Come on, you stalking motherfucker. I
don't know.
Are you older than him?
No.
How do you know?
I shouldn't be that offended. Hope he didn't hear. No, he's like, but he's not like, he's like 40.
You see he just had a baby?
I think he's like in his low 40s.
They're calling her the Pebble?
Early 40s.
Or him the Pebble, the baby the Pebble?
I don't know.
He's a small rock?
I like The Rock, man.
I know you do.
I like him a lot. He's a good dude, man. And
me and The Rock are hanging off a cliff. Who do you grab? Holy shit.
Well, I'm trying.
Are we going to edit this where you don't pause for 45
seconds? How strong
seconds?
I am because I'm trying to see if I can grab you both, but I don't know if like
we're 15 feet apart.
Which arm? Because my left arm is my strongest. My right arm is my weakest. So
you know what? I'm on your right side.
You're on my right side.
So you have a better chance of saving The Rock. Holy fuck! Really?
Nah, dude, you're my boy. But it'd be sad to see him go. So I might hold you when I lift you up and we look down at him as he's falling.
I don't know what to say to that.
I can't believe we just turned the podcast into killing The Rock. It's my hero, bro.
It was a cliffhanger.
Jesus. Speaking of which, his movie Rampage is out. Go check it out.
It's in theaters April.
That's the first of our fake sponsors segment.
Yeah, we're covered in those.
Yeah, and I had another point, and you.
Yeah, the point is that you've met him twice. You've met me. Whatever.
I said I'd save you, but I'd be.
We had to go through 7 scenarios.
It's
where
traumatizing looking at a guy falling down that's your hero. You know, so I mean,
I'm not your hero.
You're my living hero, but
I'm your right-hand hero. Your weaker arm hero.
Yeah, my weaker arm hero.
That's really awesome, man.
Yeah.
What a dick.
So, anyway, where are we going with that?
I have no idea. This, I think, is the beauty of our podcast because it goes everywhere, man.
Well, we got sidetracked on that one.
Let's talk about your shirt.
Why don't you like this shirt? The second time I've worn it.
It looks delicious.
You've talked shit about it both times.
Well, have you worn that before?
Yeah. I worked to work one time when I first got it, when I first brought it back. Just for half a day. And you were like, you said some dumb shit. I don't know.
Is that when I thought everybody brought, what are those called? Push pops?
Yeah.
Back in high school?
Yeah, you said like a push pop.
I mean,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Huh? I did wear a dress.
Yeah.
So
coming from a man who just got done wearing a dress.
You got me beat.
And real hair. Which was still in the sink, by the way, when they were cleaning the house before I pulled my back, which probably the time that I took, everything happens for a reason. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this. The time it took me to clean up your real hair out of the sink, which I did first, and then I threw it in the trash can, then went into my bathroom, then noticed the towel on the ground or whatever it was, and then pulled my back. So I venture to say that if I never saw that hair, I might not have went to the trash can, then went into my room, and then went into my bathroom and pulled my back. That could be the reason.
So you're a good sorority sister. You actually literally held my hair in the bathroom.
No, that's the reason I pulled my back. Had I not fucking threw your hair away, maybe I would have saw something else and that would have changed my mind and I would have done this and never went into the bathroom.
Wow.
And this would have never happened.
Wow. All right, well, I'll never dress like a woman again.
Yeah, please. According to our comments.
Wow. Well, this is really taking some weird
turns.
There
was one more question you had actually on the broadcast. You were asking about the red and blue corner.
Yes. Yes.
And I said,
almost
this would be a good one for the podcast.
Yes, because I almost felt stupid asking this, but then I thought about it. I was like, maybe you guys don't know, because I don't know. And I'm closer to the sport than most, I would assume. Mm-hmm. But you got a red corner and blue corner. Mm-hmm. And during one of the walkouts, somebody was like, even though he's in the blue corner, he's the favorite. And that kind of, I was like, I never thought about that shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it was just, hey, what's your favorite color? Hell, fuck, I don't know. So, please, you said you'd wait to explain it to me.
Yeah, that'd be good for the podcast. There's probably some people that wondered. I mean, people.
I'm just curious. I'm curious.
I thought I assumed everyone knew this because I fought, obviously. But so generally, I think it has to do with the promotion and who they see as the favorite. When it gets to championship level, there's a formula there. If you're a past champion, I think, and fighting someone who's a contender, blah, 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 you're obviously the red corner.
And the red corner is always the second one out, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you're looked upon as the favorite. It has nothing to do with the betting odds.
It's not the Vegas shit.
Vegas, that changes all the time. I mean, it can change drastically overnight.
Yeah.
It's what the promotion deems to be the favorite of the two. So, if or the favorite, or I want to say there's some stipulation there as far as when you get into the championship level or time spent or Hall of Fame, something like that. I don't know. It might be something like that. If it's not like for a championship belt and one was a champion, one wasn't, something like that. Maybe the champion or the ex-champion always gets to be the. I don't know, but it's generally the favorite of the promotion.
Nice.
So
like I said, I was always curious, I mean,
and it caught me off guard because like I would never expect that question because it's just something I've known for all my life because I've been a fighter. So
well, it's like, do women wear cups when they fight?
And they do.
I have no fucking clue.
Did you really not? Didn't you ask that, or did
I
you
really
know?
just said that? Yes, because I have no idea.
Well, they actually
I've
do.
wondered it before. I never asked you.
Yeah, they actually do.
Are they?
I never
How are
examined
they
one.
shaped?
No.
I mean,
I never examined one. No, but
they look
do.
like a football tee.
They do. I'm not saying that they wear them, but they do have them.
I wonder how that works.
They do have them.
Wow.
And in our show, one of the girls went down from a low blow. And it was a Thai girl, and it was in Thailand, but she was a girl.
So it could have.
I'm just saying. No,
Maybe she was wearing a cup.
But she didn't have a cup on, and she did go down from a low blow. So that goes to show you that, I mean, it hurts to get hit there either way, I assume.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure it's not the best thing to get kneed in that area, whether you have things there or not.
What are you, 11 years old? You can say penis and vagina.
All right. I'm always talking about the other things.
Just say penis.
Stop. Move on.
All right. Now, you did mention, I was going to ask you that too, since you brought it up, and it's been in the back of my head. You said Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe according to that. Matt Serra.
Oh, yep. It's a great one. Yeah. So he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to him.
In the Pioneer Wing, which
Yeah.
you'll be in one day, by the way.
The Pioneer Wing. I don't know what the difference is.
Well, really?
I'm going to be in
He's
the
a pioneer
Ultimate
in the sport.
Fighter. We're just going to put him in because they were on the Ultimate Fighter wing.
They sold a lot of
I think it's
DVDs.
right across from the restroom. Yeah, you just as you go in the restroom, you look to the left, and we're all there, and it's like we're all like accumulative together, not just one each. Just we're
Just
all
everybody.
together. We have to be together to be in the Hall of Fame, not separate.
Yeah, man. I mean, shit. You got to give you guys credit.
It sucks because Dana came out and said that he wanted to put all of Ultimate Fighter Season 1 in the Hall of Fame, and then that was it. And usually what Dana says...
When was that? Was it this weekend or was it 9 years ago?
Like 9 years ago or something. It was a long time ago. And it was one of those things where it's like, Dana usually does what he says. So Dana, do what you said. Put us in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but you got guys that
let
never
my status
fought
grow a
again.
little bit. The Real Quick with Mike Swick show with the UFC Hall of Famer Mike Quick Swick.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my Bruce Buffer impersonation.
That's what that was?
Kind of. I don't know, dude. Now it's like
Anyway, back to
almost
Matt
one.
Serra. I mean, congrats.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did have that knockout with he knocked out George St. Pierre.
Yeah, it's very memorable for me. Yeah.
That was the night in Houston. You had the first sponsored banner that
We're
night.
gonna get this every episode.
We are, and I got to
Let me tell you a little fun fact about little story about Matt Serra and his big knockout over George St. Pierre. That was also not only the biggest upset in UFC history. That was also the very first time a fight sponsored banner was ever used in combat sports.
It was also the most upset Dana White's ever been at a fighter when you put that banner out.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm
congrats,
sure he
man.
was upset at me for throwing this big ass banner down until George St. Pierre got knocked out. That probably didn't make his day.
And nobody thought about it.
Yeah,
So.
I'm pretty sure that got wiped right out. He forgot. That's probably why nothing was ever said about the sponsored banner, because it immediately turned over to George St. Pierre. And I'll say this, a little fun story for you guys, since I'm old and have a ton of stories and I segue into all this crazy shit. I was going back to the hotel room because I left early, and I was sad because I ended up losing the fight. I was fighting Yushin Okami. I fought Yushin Okami, and it was a very close fight. He won the first round. I won the second round. Almost knocked him out in the second round. We say this every time.
Yeah.
Third round came down to one takedown. He took me down, and he stayed on top for a good 2.5, 3 minutes. I couldn't get him off.
That's a big dude.
Then I reversed him too little too late. He won the decision. I lost the fight. Was walking back to the hotel room. As I'm going back in the hotel, everyone's going ape shit crazy. And right now I'm in my hometown, and I just lost my title shot, lost my fight. So the world's ending in my eyes. And everyone's going crazy. And then I hear George St. Pierre just lost. So, like, I hated the fact that, you know, someone lost the fight. But, like, it was nice to, like, shift some of that weight off of my shoulders onto George St. Pierre. Because, like, that immediately got him to quit thinking about my fight and move on to, like, even a bigger upset, which is George St. Pierre losing to Matt Serra. So it kind of, like, yeah, took that weight off a little bit. It made me feel a little bit better because I was thinking to myself, well, if George St. Pierre just lost, I don't feel as bad. Is that bad to say?
No,
I feel kind of bad saying that.
Because I've got another fun fact for you. The night that you lost to Matt Brown.
Why are we talking about my losses all the time?
I don't know.
This is bullshit.
They're fun.
I've won a couple fights in the UFC.
Yeah, we'll talk about those.
10.
Do you remember who lost the night that you lost?
And against Matt, when I fought Matt Brown?
But it wasn't in the UFC.
Oh, what shit, man. I got knocked out.
Manny Pacquiao got knocked out that same night.
Oh, that's right.
So, zero emphasis on UFC, obviously, since Pacquiao got knocked out. So, maybe we just broke the news that you lost to Matt Brown.
Well, I'm glad we did that on my own podcast. I appreciate that.
It's our podcast. It's our podcast.
Well, our podcast.
You talk about losing to fucking Yushin Okami every episode. I can't bring up. You only lost 5 times.
Okay, so who else have I lost to? We can bring up real fast.
I can't even name them. Do you remember? Never mind. I'm not going to tell you that. It was bad.
Which one?
We were going to dress up as all the people who beat you for Halloween one night.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't.
Well, because I'm not a dick.
Yes, you are. Sort of.
You left me in jail in Thailand.
I was tired, and I had a fight camp, and I was in close proximity to the fight. And you needed the time to think about what you did wrong.
What I did wrong? I need time every morning I wake up to think about what I did wrong.
I told you don't drive drunk, and that was your problem.
I didn't drive drunk. I had one sip of a Zima.
Well, it was one sip too
Thai
much.
Zima is really strong, by the way.
All right. And we're going to wrap this up in a second, guys. But, again, the 30 minutes coming on. So we're not going to lie to you guys. All right. And we are back. And I just wanted to make you do this one more time.
How'd it work?
I think it worked pretty good. I think we're
we
back.
We don't know yet. Why do we ask each other that?
Anyway, so what did we not touch on? So we covered all the fights. Good performance by, well, let's go back. Good performance by Lee, obviously. Yeah. I mean, he definitely backed it up and beat Barboza. I do want to say that Barboza should probably take some time off.
I mean, guy
he's lost
every round.
10-8 almost.
Yeah, by at least 10-8. Not 10-7s. He had a few against Khabib, right?
So he needs to take a little time off. And he's a very I'm not saying nothing against him. I love the guy. He's a talented fighter.
Yeah.
One of the best strikers in the division. But he's had 2 really, really bad fights that I think he should definitely take some time off right now. I think the UFC should put him on some kind of suspension where at least like maybe 5-6 months.
He's probably got a good 6 months at least.
So. I think.
With that cut that he has and how much he's been rocked, they got to give him 6 months.
I mean, I venture to say that maybe this fight could have also he could have had some lingering issues.
Oh, of course.
I mean, dude, he took a lot of punishment.
He's taken a solid 8-9 rounds or whatever the last, just rocked. And God bless him, great guy, but.
And one more thing I want to cover about that fight. I mean, I know his head is not where it should have been probably at this stage, and he took a lot of punishment. But when he did land that wheel kick, Kevin Lee came in with that double leg and grabbed him. I mean, hats off to him for reacting the way he did. But, man, Barboza didn't throw a single punch.
Nope.
I was surprised by that. Classic BJJ guy.
Yeah.
Even though he's a striker, when he's on the ground, it's like he's back to just pure BJJ, and instead of just finishing him off and landing the punches, which probably would have ended the fight.
2 punches would have landed that.
Probably would have ended the fight. He starts going for a choke and then like going for this and going for that. And of course he's weak and not as strong as he used to be. Next thing you know, you're going to fight again. And then, of course, he just gets dominated.
Well, like you said during that
fight. That was frustrating.
That
That frustrated me to see that part.
Yeah, but even, like I said, to give you credit, you said in that fight he was rocked.
Yeah.
And it's, Barbosa, was rocked still. All that pounding he's taken. So, hats off to him for even landing that kick.
Yeah.
It's nice watching the UFC with you. You get a nice little perspective.
Oh, well, thanks, buddy.
It'd be like watching the NBA with, I can't think of somebody who played in the NBA, but I don't know. Michael Jordan? You want me to compare you to Michael Jordan? Is this where we're going?
Sure.
Subtle LeBron James.
Wow. All right.
Which, by the way, LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. Just so you know.
Oh, and then, all right, so let's keep going here.
You know how I get off track.
Yeah, you're way off track now.
Sorry.
From starting to compare me to Michael Jordan, that's where we're.
Well, I was trying to be nice.
Sidetracked off a bridge.
You don't know who Arvydas Sabonis is, so.
No.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Oh, God, I couldn't spell that if my life depended on it.
Nobody can.
I could look at that word for about 20 minutes, and then you could ask me, and I couldn't spell it.
Hence my point.
Anyway, okay, so let's talk about real fast. There's no UFCs coming up.
No, for 2 weeks.
Amanda Nunes and
that's the next one.
Raquel.
And Raquel Pennington.
That's coming up in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So the next big card is Fedor versus Mir, and I want to touch on that just a little bit. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
Wow, I mean, they're both up there in age.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless them. I mean, you've got.
Do you know their age?
Not offhand, but I know they're older. I know they're both older than me. Now, older than you, I don't know.
Buddy, we're the same age.
You're 6 months older.
Frank Mir's not that much older.
Frank Mir, you're older than Frank Mir. You're not, actually. Frank Mir was born May 30th.
He's older than
1979.
Me. Yeah.
You are a week older than him.
Wow, so he's older than me and still.
Yeah, just by a week. I mean, he's a week older than you. Sorry if I said that wrong.
I will say this. Fedor's got a 35 or 36-5 record.
Well,
even with all of his recent losses in the last few years or whatever it was.
Yeah, you say I mean, losses. He lost to
Matt Mitrione was the recent one.
Yeah.
That's the recent one. But no, he was actually on a I don't know. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't recent losses, but I'm saying in the latter part of his career.
Recent for him because he won 28 in a row or whatever it was.
Actually recent, he was on a winning streak until he fought Matt Mitrione. But we're talking that stemmed back from 2013 or something.
Yeah.
So he was actually on a winning streak, and then he fought Matt Mitrione, lost that fight. Frank Mir, on the other hand, is coming off of 2 losses, I think.
Yeah, Arlovsky was the first.
He lost to Mark Hunt by knockout.
And before that,
Arlovsky. I don't know who he won against before that.
Honestly,
but I will say I was in Russia back a while back, and I saw him. He works with ACB, a show in Russia, and he was gigantic. I didn't even recognize him.
Like jacked or a little bit of both, perhaps?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. He was huge. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be mean, but he was big.
He's.
I mean, maybe he was jacked or whatever, but
he hadn't fought in 2 years.
I didn't recognize him, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he shows up for this, because there was a lot of rumors in the past that he didn't train as hard. He's obviously a talented fighter. I mean, this guy was a champion. He's won some amazing fights, but a big argument has always been that he didn't hit it hard in the gym, and he'd come in and have an amazing fight, and he'd come in a lot of times from his talent. Sometimes he would train hard, and then a lot of times he wouldn't train as hard, and he'd lose a fight. And I'm interested to see how he's going to come in against this fight, or against Fedor in this fight, if he's going to come in shape, because he was definitely out of shape in Russia, but that was a while back. I mean, he had plenty of time to get in shape by now. Yeah. And I'm sure he's taking this fight pretty serious. It's a big
Fedor.
fight. Yeah.
I mean,
and then Fedor just never changes his ways. So I'm worried that he's just going to stick to the old ways, that he's just older and probably a little bit less motivated and everything. So I don't see him getting better, obviously. So I don't know.
Do you know what his job was before he went to fighting?
Fedor?
He drove tanks.
I
mean, that says it all right there. So
what's your pick on the Fedor versus Mir?
I think I've got kind of a dark horse, if you will, here. I think most people are going to pick Fedor. I see Mir winning by some.
You think people are going to pick Fedor?
Yeah. Oh, come on, dude. He's 36-5 or whatever. The guy, it's Fedor. I mean, it's it's like picking against Anderson Silva.
But again, most of those wins were in the prime of his career. He was killing everybody.
But
then he went on he lost a lot of fights and then took a lot of time off. Then he came back and won a bunch more.
Like Mir's on some 9-winning streak, 9-fight win streak. I see him winning. It's going to sound weird. I got you on this one though. Probably second or third round with some kind of leg submission, whether it be heel hook or.
He's a really good submission guy.
So that's how I see that going. I don't think.
But I will say this: you're talking about a Russian Sambo guy in Fedor.
I know.
Leg locking Fedor is going to be. I would assume not an easy task.
I'm not a. I don't have a Fedor poster on my wall, as you know. I got the Beebs on there, but I would assume he's a good 43-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think age starts to take its toll on you. I mean, I know that I have to go get a massage when I wake up in the morning just from the sleep, so, and being a fighter, I mean, look at you picking up towels and shit, God bless you.
There we go.
But,
yeah, I can't pick up a towel now.
Yes.
And I got someone older than me going, I'm fighting Fedor.
Well, even if I was losing, you couldn't even throw in the towel for me if I was losing.
I could throw it in, but also throw my back.
As long as you get it in there, if I'm getting my ass kicked. But no, I don't know. I think Mir's just a little younger, maybe a little I don't know, I don't know. Just the way I feel. I'm probably way off.
I think right now the variables is just all we've seen is Fedor lose, and we haven't seen much of Mir in a long time. We don't know what his shape's going to be.
Yeah.
Again with Fedor, I think it's just too hard to call right now for me. I mean, Fedor's got that power. He's going to have that till the day he quits fighting. He's always going to have
Fedor's
that power.
Always a machine.
He's always going to have those instincts that's going to. And that toughness, that fortitude that's inside of him that can carry him through fights.
Fortitude, nice. Brother.
Frank Mir's got that technique, but he's got the technique in the submission game, which is where Fedor's grown up, He's a hard guy to submit. I don't know, man. Right now I'm saying that, I don't know if I can really pick it. And,
well, you're going to have to.
I love Fedor, though. I mean, Fedor is one of my heroes from growing up.
Yeah, so, of course.
I'll say that. But picking a winner is going to be a tough one for me right now, buddy.
Well, shit.
So that's probably going to disappoint some people. Just say it, Mom.
All right, then go back to Nunes Pennington. Who you got? Should we just do it together? 1, 2, 3.
Pennington.
Nunes. What?
No, I was just pissing you off.
Oh, I was about to say, what?
No, I do think Nunes is going to win that fight.
Yeah, so.
I do. I like Pennington too, but I think Nunes is going to win the fight.
I mean, other than that, there's not a lot of whole big news in the UFC right now, or an MMA period.
Well, Colby Covington is apparently getting an armed security detail.
He's going to need it.
Yeah.
He's, again, one of those guys.
He's going to need it.
Again.
At least he's not running around attacking buses. It's crazy. Listen to me. I'm not trying to bash on Conor or anything. Well, I guess I am. But as crazy as Colby is with what he says and stuff, he hasn't done anything as violent as that yet. So, I mean,
nobody has.
He's not, he's not malicious. He's only taken things like a boomerang and whatever else he's taken to his head. But he's only been a victim as far as physical violence goes. But, man, he is a shit talker. And he's going to have a lot of enemies for sure.
But see,
but that's his thing. That's
what's how I feel about talking shit.
And he's beaten some good guys. I mean, he did beat Miami. Of course, it's people have their own judgment on how he fights. But
what edge as a fighter? What hypes you up more when people talk shit like he does, where there's no real comedy to it? It's just straight. Your girl's a whore. That kind of shit. Do you like that, or do you like the more
yeah, but you're talking to me, bro.
That's what
you're talking to a fighter. We make the smallest demographic. We're the fighters, and he has a huge demographic out there.
I'm sure.
Buddy, go to a UFC, go to a fight, and look at the audience.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
There's a huge demographic of those guys that love that kind of stuff.
Of
you know what I mean?
There's always those assholes.
The young crowd too. They want to see the girls. His recent Instagram video, whatever it is, with those two porn stars or whoever they were, that's what the fans want to see.
So is that? Do you prefer the hardcore, just straight mean shit talking, or the comedy side shit talking?
Like the Chael Sonnen sort of.
Chael Sonnen, maybe a Derek Lewis. I don't know the way.
I like more the. I like the Chael Sonnen and overall, right? Yeah. But if there is the hardcore kind, I want it to be real.
Exactly.
I want it to be real. I want them to really hate each other and show it, and not hug each other between rounds and
afterwards. A handshake and a hug. I see it.
Okay,
that's fine.
So as long as it's 100% real and you can see the emotion and they go out there and they live up to it and they fight that way, then I like that. If it's just pre-hype stuff, I like listening to Chael. He's funny, man. He's got a gift, and I think Conor's kind of a mix. before. And he's kind of losing his head a little bit now.
Yeah.
But before, he was kind of a mix of like the chill, a little bit more to the malicious too. So he was kind of that mix, but you could still tolerate it because you didn't think he was crazy. He was just acting crazy. Now we pretty much know he's crazy.
One question for you, and I don't know the answer, so I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Okay.
But female fighting shit talking, who's the best of the female fighters? Or do they? Like, I really cannot.
No. But I do want to ask you something else after this. And then I want to talk also about Anastasia a little bit. Speaking of females, but
I always speak about them.
Who really talks?
That's what I'm wondering. Do women really?
I don't think there's anything going on except for who I'm about to ask you about. And she's not really talking about other fighters, and that's Leslie Smith, obviously.
Oh, jeez.
But I know you know more about that. That's what I'm going to ask you about it.
I'm not an expert in that by any means, but
the thing is like I really don't. Are there any females that are fighting?
I mean, you got the Ronda Rouseys that used to talk a little shit or whatever. But other than that
made it interesting. But they backed it up.
Yeah, true.
Cyborg. I mean, she sometimes will talk, but not usually to her opponents.
She's not really like
the opponents that fight her now are people that they have to find. So she's not trying to look like a bully, right?
Yeah, now she's like,
they're
who
not
the
on
fuck
her
can
level.
beat me? Yeah.
So she has to be nice to them because they're not even qualified to fight her.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So you can't even get somebody to go against her and make legitimate trash talk.
I mean, for the most part, the women that we have at the gym that's been in and out,
yeah.
None of them are dickbags like some of these fighters.
Well, tell me your thoughts on this Leslie Smith thing. So for those of you that don't know, real fast, I know it's going to be a long podcast, but we're doing timestamps now, so they can skip around.
Yeah.
We're offering a
new service. I want to hear
service.
Mark's thoughts on Leslie Smith.
A new service for you guys.
Now, apparently she wants to sue the UFC because her opponent missed weight. And
well, she spoke out against the UFC first.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. She's had some qualms the way they treat the fighters and stuff, which who hasn't? Again, and God bless you for saying this probably 6 podcasts ago. Don't sign the fucking contract if you don't want to fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
If you're upset with the pay, don't sign it.
Yeah.
You know? Apparently Leslie Smith was supposed to fight last week, 2 weeks ago, where the hell it was, and her opponent missed weight by like 1.8 pounds. Ladd, I believe is her last name, and apparently Ladd was like, look, I'll give you $5,000 if you let's still fight. And she said no. Again, this is all hearsay. I'm not 1,000%. So apparently she told the UFC that she will fight if they give her $100,000, win or show no matter what happens. Win or lose no matter what happens. And then she'll finish another fight for another $100,000 or something like that. Again, I may be just a touch off, but it's pretty much the parameters. And instead the UFC gave her $31,000, her show money, which to me I think is pretty good. I'm not familiar with Leslie Smith.
Yeah.
I know she's not on the Joanna Rose, Ronda Rousey level.
No, that's a pretty good amount of money.
$31,000, and then they gave her. She would
have made 62 then to win.
62.
That's a lot of
money. They
money.
gave it to her anyway, even though she didn't fight, and then they cut her, and now she's all upset and wants to sue and all that. And
here's the thing I got to say about that, and I've said this before, not defending the UFC. I'm always for the fighters, right? But again, like I said it before, if you get a contract, it's up to you to sign it. And I learned a lot of this through business, right? That's why in business, everything is with contracts. So if you don't like your contract, don't sign the contract. Get a better one or don't do it. But if you do sign a contract, you have to live up to it. That's just the way it is. And you can't go halfway through and then complain. You have to just suck it up and do your job and do it the best you can so that your next contract is going to be bigger and better, right? And
I just like to say, I've never seen a sport where, being in this business, I would assume that everybody who's ever thrown a punch and wants to throw a punch professionally in MMA wants to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, we rarely get the guys that come to the gym like, I cannot wait to make Ryzen. Not that that's not a bad organization, but everybody strives for the UFC. It's like when you play basketball, you don't want to be in the ABA. You want to be in the NBA. Yeah. You want to be in the MLB. You know, you don't want to play overseas in Japan. And I've never seen a sport or so many participants of that sport, once they make the highest level, be angry about that they made the highest level. You know, like her being pissed off at the UFC. I'm sure when she was fighting, she wanted to be in the UFC. And like you said, she had the chance to not sign the contract. I mean,
again,
I think it's when they don't make the elite status that they're mad at themselves and take it on the UFC.
I don't want to speak out of turn here because then and get flamed on if there's something I don't know, right? Because I don't know a lot about the Leslie Smith situation, so I don't want to like jump the gun here and say something and give an opinion.
But we're going hypothetically.
And somebody say, oh, you didn't know this, so blah, blah, blah. But here's my point. if you speak out on the UFC and you stand up to them and say bad things, expect that you're gonna get something in return, right? Like it's not gonna be roses for you after that. You know what I mean? Like you can't talk shit about your employer and they're gonna just give you a better contract and give you more things and help you out more. That's with any job anywhere in the world. So it's like the day you decide that you're going to speak up against the UFC or your job or your employer, that's a big decision you got to make. And part of that decision is, okay, am I willing to accept if things get really bad from here? But these fighters, some of them speak up against the UFC, and some of them have full right to do so. I'm saying this situation, they speak up against the UFC, and then the UFC takes legal or does what they probably are all in their right to do. I'm assuming that the UFC is not going to do anything that they can't back up in court. So they did what they did, and now they're mad. Leslie's mad about it. But it's like, what did she expect? Like, what did you expect? I mean, you can't piss off your boss and become employee of the month. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get to Conor McGregor status or some of these, all these benefits if you're pissing off your employer. So it's like, I don't know. I never understood the people that don't have real reasons, or I don't know. Sometimes it's like, I agree that you have a point and that you have a reason to stand up against somebody. But sometimes the smarter people just keep their mouths shut and play the game, right? And in the end, you win, right? You don't have to stand up. Sometimes they say keep your enemies close. You know what I mean? Sometimes maybe you have a good point and you're right and you're being mistreated, but just don't say anything.
Suck it up.
Use it, and like, you don't have to speak up, because when you speak up, you're just hurting yourself even more. You know what I mean? Like, who spoke up against the UFC and won?
Nobody yet.
Nobody. Yeah. Nobody.
And like I said, this Leslie Smith.
And you think Leslie Smith's going to be the first?
No knock on Leslie Smith. I think she had her ear torn in a fight a while back or something. That was like big news. Other than that, I have no fucking clue who she is. Yeah. And we do this for a living. I'm not saying, again, she may be a badass. I'm not talking shit about her. But, I mean, she got $62,000 to not fight. So she got $62,000 plus how much did Reebok give her, plus her other sponsors, plus I don't know if she's in a video game or, whatever she's got going on. I know she made more than the 80% of the people that work in the United States, and it's like, or that don't work,
Yeah.
But it's like now you're not in the UFC anymore at all. Now there's no chance of you becoming that elite Ronda Rousey doing movies or wrestling.
It's a business, though. You got to understand the UFC is a business, and with any business, their job is to make money and to be successful. And it's just the situation is that the employees are in a position where they can become famous and increase their own value and
build your own brand
and build their own brand and demand more because their brand's big, but they can demand more or see themselves as being more valuable before the contract is up. So in that case, the UFC kind of won, right? Because the UFC kind of betted that they can get you for these 3 fights for this amount of money and hope that you become a big star, and they can get you for a fight or 2 while you're still big before they got to jump up and pay you more, right? And then you did so. But then you get to that point where you become big, and then you want all the money, and then you complain, and then you ruin it, because then all of a sudden now you got the UFC on your bad side, and now you're not going to get anything. So it's like you got to kind of just bite the bullet and get through that contract, shake Dana's hand, thank them for what they've done for you. Thanks for the video game. Everything's great, whether you agree or not, and then just move on. Like, I don't know. It's just my policy, man. Like, I've agreed with people and haven't. And the more times I've spoken up, you've seen me. How many times have I told you? How many times have I read you texts and emails and asked you if I should send it? And you said, nope, don't do it.
I think I'm a better...
don't do it.
I'm maybe not better, but I'm a good buffer between you and whoever the hell you're mad at.
Because I'm hot-headed a little bit, right? And that's my biggest problem. I'm trying to be more Dale Carnegie, right? And Dale Carnegie, one of the best books in the history of the world.
Oh, God.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Sponsored by DG?
I'm not, but
DK?
How to Win Friends and Influence People is one of the best books in the world. If you know anything about business, that's one of the best books in the world, right? How to treat people.
I know.
And the point is, I'm trying to be a lot more like Dale Carnegie. I read a lot of business books and stuff. And, it's hard for me sometimes because we deal with a lot of people, as you can attest to, that are really shitty people. Yeah. And it's like, I want to put them in their place. But it never wins. You never win when you do it, man. You can't win an argument, and that's that's in this book and Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich as well. You can't win an argument.
Well, that same, you can catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
You can't.
I know that sounds so dumb, but it's
just,
fucking true, man.
You got to say the right thing sometimes, and like I need you because you're kind of my buffer, man. Because like
I don't like confrontation.
I'll get fired up at nighttime and write these things and tell you, and you're just like, yeah.
I'm a firm believer.
Maybe take the second paragraph out and that other part, and leave those out.
I'm a firm believer in kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
I really think that. And had she just smiled and said, "Look, thank you so much," blah blah blah. Here's because that was her last fight on her contract.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get that other big contract that you want.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
But the point is that's always been my thing. Is just kind of like you gotta go with the flow, man, and like look at the history and fight your battles. But like, man, I don't know. Like you just got to do what's smart sometimes.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just kind of like play ball, like do what the contract says.
Yeah.
Try to do the best you can and think about your future. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to say here is think about your future. Look at the past, assess what's happened in the past, assess what's happening now, and kind of project what's going to happen in the future. And if it's bad or it doesn't look good, it's probably not the right answer.
Nobody thinks that.
And Leslie, I think, is, in my opinion, she went the wrong route, and now she's out of the UFC. And do you think she's going back to the UFC?
No, God, no.
She'll never be back in
God
the UFC.
bless Invicta.
And the UFC doesn't have to bring her back.
Yeah.
They're a private company.
Look at this. She was making 32 and 32 or 31 and 31.
Yeah.
Now she's going to have to go to, not that they're
exactly.
shit organizations, but Invicta or maybe a, something lower level for 11 and 11. Or maybe 20 and 20 if things work. It's just.
And I'm not saying, again, I don't have the full story. I'm not saying she's right, and I'm definitely not taking the side.
I'm not saying, if she's doing it on a principle thing, then God bless her. If that's what she's
whatever.
doing.
And I'm not taking the side of all the
standpoint.
fighters that stepped up against the UFC. I'm not saying that they don't have a point. I'm not saying that they're not right. I'm just saying that they've never won. And I'm just saying that you got to look out for yourself. And sometimes you just got to play ball. Nobody, maybe not nobody, but most people don't like their boss, or they don't agree with everything the boss does. But what do? They're nice to the boss.
Look what I've done.
They're nice to the boss. Yeah, look at you.
But
you're nice to the boss because the boss makes the rules, and until something changes. And so in the UFC, like I said, you just have that empowerment when you start becoming famous that you think you have the ability to knock out the boss. You can't, bro. It has never been done.
I'd say Dana's probably about 280 to 0 on winning these little battles.
He's never lost, man.
That guy that talks or that used our podcast as a way to try to sue Dana.
Yeah, we actually got Dana White in a lawsuit on this podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't know. Dana's gonna. So Dana, when he was on the podcast, God, it's gonna be a long podcast, guys. We're gonna wrap it up after this.
Yeah,
seriously. Another fun story. So when Dana was on the podcast, he just had found out news about Michael Bisping getting into an altercation with a guy at the gym, and there was some talk going on, and Dana didn't know quite what was going on, and so he was on the podcast and we talked about it, and he started calling the guy things and saying stuff.
Names.
So then I get sent this video, and it's at the hearing. It's they're making like a press release against Michael Bisping, and they're saying that they're suing Michael Bisping and Dana White, and they're actually suing him as well. And the reason they're suing Dana White is because on the Real Quick with Mike Swick podcast, Dana White said, and I quote, and then they said the quote, and it was something like, he's a meathead or whatever it was. And he's like, and how does Dana know that he's a meathead? How does Dana know this is all slander? This is blah, blah, blah.
Defamation of character.
Yikes. But the crazy thing about it is, to show you how big Dana is, I asked Dana about it later, and he didn't even know about it.
We asked him 4 months later.
Yeah, I asked
no clue.
4 months. He didn't even know. That's how big Dana is, dude. That's how many people Dana's got underneath him.
I wonder if Dana even knows about this Leslie Smith stuff,
He has so many people underneath him that he didn't even know he was getting sued. It got like completely done.
Must be nice.
That's crazy. We will wrap up this podcast now because it's going to be an hour and a half. It's going to be one of our longest podcasts. Record? We literally came in the podcast room today and we're like, man, we ain't got shit.
Yeah, because we're not even going
to do a recap. We ain't going to do a recap. There's no news. And we've been sitting here for an hour.
You've been injured. You've been in the IR for a while, so
yeah,
it's good to catch up with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Even though again,
we just missed being in the podcast room.
Yeah, it is kind of
This is my getaway from like life.
Have you ever slept in here? I've never slept in an interview.
No. Why would I sleep in the podcast room?
I don't know.
That's just a weird question.
Why do I sleep on driveways in high school?
Because you're drunk.
I wasn't drunk in high school.
Oh, I thought you meant now.
Oh. There's no driveways in Thailand, by the way.
Oh.
What a dick.
All right.
This is where it always ends up.
Nah. Thanks, guys, for listening and watching. Please subscribe on YouTube. Guys, you guys on iTunes, all you listeners out there we're finding out about, please go to YouTube if you have a YouTube account and subscribe. If for no other reason, he's fighting his first Muay Thai fight when we get to 50,000 subscribers. So it's going to be live on the YouTube channel. He's never fought before. We're going to do a training camp leading up to it and film it and interview him and show that.
It's a 4-year training camp.
Oh, and I'm sorry, real quick, I do want to say...
better hurry.
Yeah, I know. Never mind. I'll bring it up next time. Yeah,
we'll save it for next time. A little teaser.
Yep. Yeah. So get ready next time for this, guys. That's the teaser. Because that's all that I said. So that's the only teaser.
Ooh, they're intrigued.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we appreciate all the support.
What's up, everybody? I am here in Thailand. This is the first time I've ever been here. Been dying to come here for years. The great Mike Swick. He's one of the big reasons he's been trying to pull me down here. What he built down here, aka Thailand, is incredible. There's people here from all over the world. You can train mixed martial arts here, jiu-jitsu. They have weightlifting, they have cardio, and obviously they have Muay Thai, boxing, everything. I'm telling you guys, I know everybody wants to go to Thailand because Thailand's so cool, but you can't come to Thailand without coming to AKA Thailand. Come on.